Well, Andy, looks like we're on our own again. Luke and Sierra headed back to North Carolina, so it's just going to be us trying to get all this stuff done.
I called the plane pilot and I told him to take it slow. So
yeah, we wish you could have the plane for another couple of days.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anyway, really enjoyed having Luke and Sierra here. Luke was a absolutely huge help. Having that third set of hands, we was able to get that much more accomplished over the last few days, and really appreciate him. Really appreciate him coming down. But anyway, Andy, we got 4 projects that are in various states of disrepair and not done. We got the corn header, got the drill, got the ripper, and then of course the cotton picker, which we just backed outside. So my goal today is I'd like to at least get 2 of these done and be down to 2 projects left. So. We're still waiting on parts for the picker. That's going to be the big holdup for it. We got some parts in the Tennessee tractor. Might get started back on it later on this afternoon. But we most definitely got all the parts we need here for the ripper. We got our new plow points in, and then we also got all the bearings and housings for the rolling baskets. So hopefully it'll be pretty quick work to get this thing knocked out in parts. All right, everything is done on the ripper. It is ready to go to the field. And looking down here, some of these rolling baskets are little cattywampus, but I think they ought to work all right. After Andy and I got done, Andy realized that 4 of these baskets we'd installed backwards to where they would dig rather than smooth out. But anyway, we got that done. And looking at these points here, we got some brand new points here. Eric gave us 1 CaseIH point, and these other 5 come from Shoop. And look at this one from Shoop. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is hard surfacing all the way around up here on the shank protector and everything. Really like that. These were, I think, $140 a piece from Shoop. And then probably some from CaseIH, which is, I believe that's the one that Eric gave me, was CaseIH. They were like $175 a piece. And looking at them, they're definitely not as substantial. The wings are not as robust, no hard facing on that. I mean, I'm sure it'll work fine, but I'm also pretty sure that it will wear out a lot quicker than these right here. So without using them, just looking at them, I'd say the ones from Shoop are definitely a lot better buy. Shoop also had some, not some chrome ones, but some longer lasting ones. They were about 175 a piece, but I mean, we're not going to be running this thing over a ton of acres every year, and I imagine these points are going to last us a good long while. So all right, before we pull this thing out of here, I've had several viewers ask me the question, have we noticed any difference in the ground that we ripped last fall? And the short answer is not really. Thinking back to last spring, we saw a huge difference in our cover crop ripped versus non-ripped, and think cause all went along when it's wet, we were getting more oxygen, the roots could proliferate down in the soil, and we saw huge benefits in the cover crop. However, the cash crop that we got planted on the ripped ground is cotton, and all throughout the year I've been watching it, and above ground we really don't see much difference. Haven't been able to see any difference in drought tolerance, and trust me, we're seeing the good ground and bad ground this year. I mean, right now, currently, we're going on over 30 days with only 0.4 of an inch of rain, and before that last rain, we were dry then. The closest we've had rains ever since the end of May has been about 14 days in between rains. We usually getting closer to 21 days between rains, so this has been one of the driest summers lengthwise over the whole summer that I can remember a while. So we've had really since June 1st, we've had just enough rain to get by, but now we're really getting into crunch time. It's bone dry out there. There's literally no moisture in the soil, and the fields where I ripped, I was hoping maybe you'd be able to see, draw a line exactly where that last ripper pass is, and we just haven't been able to do it. One thing I have seen is when we dig up cotton plants or pull them up on the rip ground, I'm seeing the longest, straightest tap roots that I've ever seen. Will it all translate to yield? I don't know. Cotton is one of those crops it's almost impossible to judge yield. All my cotton looks good, but I haven't noticed any noticeable increase in drought tolerance or yield or plant height or anything like that in a ripped versus non-ripped ground. I still think it did some good. I still think there's some benefits we're getting out of it, but until we actually harvest it, it's really going to be hard to tell. All right, 1 out of 4 projects is done. We can go park. After lunch, I reckon we'll get the cornhead back in here and got a few more odds and ends to do on it and get it done. All right, Andy, this ought to be a pretty quick job. I'll work on getting this nose piece fixed over here that got damaged at the end of corn harvest last year. This, in my opinion, is one of the weakest designs on this GTS head. The points slide up in there into a plastic snout, no reinforcement. You catch this thing on kudzu, morning glories, a limb or something, it just bends the tip up under, breaks the plastic or whatever. So I'm gonna fashion a strip of metal in there to give it some rigidity. It looks like you've already checked all the grease level in the gearboxes.
I did, and all the ones that were low or needed some have been topped off and filled up.
We greased our chains last fall before we picked it up. We might need to shoot it with a little bit more of that penetrating grease, and then we'll need to go around and make sure all of these tensioners are free and properly adjusted. And then other than that, I think this thing's going to be ready for this piss poor corn crop we got coming up.
It's going to cut some.
Yeah, it's going to cut some stalks. I don't know how many good sized ears it's going to bring in the head, but it's going to cut something. All right, here's a piece of made to go up under here. I think it ought to work pretty good. All right, let's try this again. All right. Pretty firm there. I don't think I've got to worry about it. If that bends down, it's going to rip the whole snout off. Yeah, that tensioner is froze up. This way you do it, you get a hammer and we'll tap in on it, then knock it back until probably need to spray some penetrating oil up in there, and eventually it'll freeze up or free up. That one froze up pretty good there. All right, we finally got her loosened up. Had to knock her back and forth quite a few times, but she's good and free. That one is too. Was any others seized up?
Yes, sadly there are. This one right beside it needs a couple taps. This one and this one is good. So those 3, good one. This one is good. This one is frozen. That's fine.
All right, I'll just go down the line then.
Sweet.
Yeah, somebody's a booger here. All right, two projects knocked out in one day. I feel pretty good.
Halfway there.
And more pumps just called me and said that cylinder's ready for the drill, so we'll go get it this afternoon, be ready to go on first thing in the morning. I think this is ready to go for the 2024 corn crop. In the morning, we'll get the picker back in here, go get her parts from John Deere, put the cylinder on the disc, and see what else we can get knocked out tomorrow. Oh, it's gonna be a hot one this week, ain't it?
It sure is. I saw a couple triple-digit numbers.
I think I saw 3 triple-digit numbers.
Yeah.
Pretty, yeah, pretty much Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Well, at least we're gonna be in Iowa those days.
Maybe a little bit cooler.
I'm pretty sure it'll be pretty hot up in Iowa, but at least we won't have to sit here and watch our crops burn up.
Yeah, that is true. At least we'll be somewhere else watching them.
Yeah, we're going on. Last good rain we got was before we left for vacation. Like over a month ago. Yeah, we got a 1/4 of an inch like 2 weeks ago, but it didn't last very long.
Other than that, it's been
Things are absolutely burning up right here. The corn's been done, but the cotton's starting to showing significant stress. The double crop beans showing significant stress. You know, the full season beans. Well, the full season beans are what they are. So we need a rain badly. And we ain't even hardly had a cloud in the sky for well over a week. Anyway, before we leave tomorrow around noon, we still got some work to do on that picker. Our new panels should be in this morning. If you want to run and get them, I'm going to start on gauging bars.
You dropping these back off?
Yeah, just returning them. I guess should have the 2 correct ones for us.
Right.
And plus any other parts. I done lost track of what I got ordered, what we got, and what hadn't showed up. Well, I said I was going to start gauging bars, but first thing I need to do is get this lay down roller chain replaced. It ain't too awful bad war. We got it stretched out here, and see the pins are pretty close lined up, so it ain't got a whole lot of wear on it, but this is such a critical chain. Everybody says you need to replace it regularly, so we're doing it. Talking about some high dollar size 80 chain though. So we're just going to go through, make sure our lengths are exactly right. Then break it and go put it on. Oh boy, I thought this thing had 3 sprockets to go around. Andy's the one that took it off, and I don't know how it was routed. Don't oh, come on. Hey Andy, yeah. You have me a crowbar up here?
Order. You would have thought you would have ordered them right then and there.
You think so? Is that chain routed right?
Yes, yeah, it is. I'm just gonna keep in mind it was going in between those.
If you ever have to adjust this one, they say that this one should be banjo string tight, so it's very critical what everybody tells me. All right, we got that lay down chain replaced. Let's get started on gauging some bars. All right, number 1 is +6. 2 is +2. All right, what we're doing here is gauging bars, and I showed this last year, so I'm not going to dive off too deep in it. We're going through here, and we're measuring the bar height on every on every single bar, and we got our dial set up on the lowest spindle here. And John Deere says they need to be all be within, I think it's 8/1000ths of an inch. Varying in height, and this is very critical because your doffers are ground, and in order for doffers to work, they need to just very lightly brush the spindle. And if you got a bar that's a lot lower, well, the doffer won't ever touch it, and it won't doff the cotton as effectively and wear out your doffers. Conversely, if you got one too high, it's going to be rubbing hard on the doffers and wearing your doffers out. So we're going through and gauging all the bar heights, and then after I check the bar heights, we'll add shims beneath the bars to raise them up to the appropriate appropriate height. And well, you know, we did a real careful job of this last year. Several of them were out of spec quite bad, but we did them all, got them all right. So they should be pretty close within spec, but I like to check them every single year just to make sure none of them are getting out. So hopefully this will go pretty quick and we don't have to do a whole lot of shimming. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing for a while. Like I said, I showed this last year and not going to bore you with it again this year. All right, well, got the grain buggy and semi truck ready to go.
They're all greased up. All I have to do is put the scale and change the PTO shaft over on that. But they're all greased up and looked over. Everything looks good. There's 2 tires on the truck that need some air, or on the trailer that needs some air. But other than that, everything's smooth and ready.
Oh, good, because it looks like we're going to be using it soon. It looks like we're going to be using it sooner rather than later.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just got back from Memphis, had to go get some picker parts, and there's some fields of cotton out there that they're probably ready to defoliate right now. I mean, our crops are, because of the drought, are like a full, almost a month ahead of schedule. So, yes, so normally September is a little slow. We do corn harvest. We're kind of waiting on everything to get ready. I think we're going to be slammed in September, but plus side, hopefully November is going to be a little bit easier. I'll tell you how dry it is here now. Normally, we're just absolutely sweltering. It's hot outside. It's like 94, 95 degrees. I'm not sweating a bit. It's so dry, there's like no humidity in there at all.
It's just a frying pan. There's cooking with no oil.
It's bad. It's very rare that we see this here in August. Yeah, it normally is hot and dry, but usually there's enough moisture to where we got humidity and stuff. We ain't got no humidity. That's how dry it is. Yeah, here's all the shiny parts we got to put on the picker. I got all this through Delta Spindle. They finally came in, and I had to meet a guy there in Memphis to pick him up. He was on his way to Missouri, and I didn't want to drive all the way to Lake Village, Arkansas. So we met about halfway in Memphis, got our parts. So rest of this afternoon, I sure would like to get all these doors and stuff and supports installed, and be one less thing we got to do.
Hopefully they're a little easier with no rust.
Yeah, hopefully they go on pretty easy here. Got all the new doors installed. Look at that new shiny green paint. It looks a whole lot better. Well, Andy, I thought about backing that thing out there while we had some shade and putting this curtain on top of the baler, but I don't think I got it in me today. It's freaking hot.
It is scorching. We can try it. It is scorching.
Let's just wait till the morning. We'll pull it on this side, and we got some shade. I don't know about you, but I gotta go home and get packed anyway.
I do too. I have some laundry to do. I haven't even looked in my suitcase yet.
Yeah, we're heading up to Iowa tomorrow about noon. We got a tour group from the University of Guelph from Ontario, Canada, stopping by about 10:30. So we're gonna work on the picker until they show up. You know, give them a tour of a farm, show them some cotton, and then we're gonna make tracks for Iowa.
And be on the road.
So we'll see how much we can get knocked out in about 2.5 hours tomorrow when I'm fresh and we got some shade and it's about 87 degrees rather than 97 degrees.
Yeah, I'm sure we can work a little better in that for sure.
All right, this morning we got the picker out. We're gonna put that rubber cover piece that goes on top of the RMB there, and went to go put it in the harvest mode, and it won't do anything. Will not come out of transport mode whatsoever. So most likely, I believe we got an electrical problem, so it's time to consult the Bible. I think this thing's got more than the 10 commandments in it though. Well, there goes the University of Guelph off to their nest stop. Yeah, we just got done with them. I think they brought 44 senior students from Ontario, Canada. Third year they've been out here. Really look forward to the opportunity of meeting with them every year. I had a bunch of great kids. Asked some great questions there, and I think. Hey, Andy, did you get any phone numbers this year?
Not this time. I was lacking on it this time.
Oh, man.
Great syrup though. So
Oh,
I'll take a win on that.
well, anyway, we're at a standstill on this. I never could figure out. I went through a lot of electrical diagnostics, and I kind of reached the end. So we got to make tracks for Ames, Iowa. So I reckon I'm gonna call Tennessee Tractor, see if they can get somebody out here while we're gone, figuring out why this thing won't go in the transport. I think the problem's with the accumulator not getting a solenoid energizing, but I can't figure out exactly which solenoid it is. The schematic in my diagnostic manual is not very good, so I think that's where our problem is. That won't fold up because the accumulator won't go up. So anyway, see if they can get out here. Hopefully they get that fixed. Andy, let's make tracks for Iowa.
Got somewhere